The Friday Night Funkin' vs. Ori and the Blind Forest mod dropped a couple of days ago, and I think this mod has actually been overlooked by a lot of people because it is actually a banger. The game is based off both Ori and the Blind Forest and also Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which is a sequel, and it definitely takes some inspiration from the beautiful artwork that was used in the original games. In this video, I want to go ahead and go over why Boyfriend is in this universe, and I want to explain the backstories of each of the characters that we see in the mod. Now, I know it sounds silly, but this has actually happened to Boyfriend quite a few times, and it seems like he literally just falls into this universe. There have been many mods where Boyfriend just finds a random portal or a random hole and he jumps in it and it teleports him to a completely different universe. So it really isn't a surprise that Boyfriend and Girlfriend ended up in this universe because they always do stupid things. Now, in this mod, we're actually introduced to a lot of the characters that are present in each of the games. First, we're going to start off with the main character, aka the protagonist, which is Ori. And Ori is basically a little spirit. I think she's approximately like 2.5 inches tall, and she's basically separated from both her biological family and also her adoptive family eventually. And this is kind of the basis of how you get on the adventure that the game takes you through. Now, something that the mod team did very well was showcase the run scenes that Ori found herself in her original games. And that's not to say that she didn't fight at times, but there were a lot of times where you just had to run and get away from things. An example in the mod, it literally looks like you're running away from a flood, and I'm not sure if that's the final animation or if they're going to change that in the future, but in the actual game, one of the run scenes, you actually trying to get away from an avalanche, and the team did a good job of kind of mirroring her movements and showing how agile she actually is as a character. And I also thought it was kind of cute that she made sure that Boyfriend didn't get caught. She wasn't just worried about herself, which kind of showcases the fact that she is actually a really good character in her game. And those of you who are fans of the game probably keep hearing me refer to her as she, and you probably know that the developers of the game actually didn't give her a gender. Most people just think or say that it's a she because she does have kind of feminine qualities, but technically the gender is unknown for Ori. The next character we see here is actually Naru, and when Ori actually became separated from the spirit tree, Naru is the one that discovered her and actually raised her as if it was her own child. Naru is a very motherly and caring type of creature, so I'm thinking that this is probably why Ori ended up being such a good character. I know that she is technically a spirit of light, but once she got separated from her family, there wasn't any guarantee that she would grow into being a good person. So I think Naru really helped nurture her into what she is. The next character that we see here is kind of hidden behind Boyfriend, and that is Ku. And Ku is actually the adopted sister of Ori, and she kind of has a sad backstory. She basically loses her mother before she even hatches from her egg, and luckily Ori kind of takes her in as her adopted sibling, and she's basically able to grow up alongside Ori, Naru, and Gumo. Now, something interesting about this character is that when she learns how to fly, she actually takes Ori up in the air, and they take a long flight, and they actually end up in a new forest. And that is actually how the second game begins. And it's also where you encounter a foe that actually appears in this mod, so I'll talk about her close to the end because I think she's the last character in this mod. The next character on our list that we need to talk about is actually Gumo. And the funny thing about this character is that initially he started out as evil. He was basically a character that embraced the darkness, but his encounter with Ori actually made him change his affiliation and become a good person. And this started basically when he tried to kill her by pulling a lever and making a bunch of rocks fall down, which I assume were supposed to crush her, but they actually ended up pinning him down. And instead of leaving him to die, Ori actually saves him. And this is the start between Ori and Gumo's friendship. Fun fact here too, Gumo actually ends up saving Ori's life later on down the road. The next character we see in this mod is actually called Shriek, or aka the Stone Wing. And even though she doesn't look like it, this character is technically a owl, and she was the main antagonist in Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Now, in Ori's universe, there is a decay that is basically trying to corrupt the forest, and it seems like Shriek and her family were caught up in this decay. She was able to survive because she wasn't technically hatched yet, but when she was born, she had these extreme deformities. And this is why she has this layer of stone over her body, and she also has those stone stilts. And as you can tell on the mod, she actually can stand on these and use them to walk because her actual feet are way too short. And an interesting fact here is when you see her flying in the actual game, her stilts actually fold beneath her wings, and this implies that the stilts may actually be deformed wing bones. Shriek really has one of the saddest backstories in Ori's game because she was born with no parents, and even when she tried to go find other owls to take her in, they all rejected her. So the fact that she is evil isn't just because that's her nature, but because she was outcast and born basically with nobody. The last character that I want to talk about in this mod is actually this dark version of Ori, and if I'm being honest, I actually don't know where this character is from. When you look online, there is a lot of fan fiction about a dark version of Ori named Iroh, and I suppose it could also be like an indication of the darkness or the decay that has taken over Ori's world. If you know who this character is, make sure to put it down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video where I explain the top 25 best ships of Friday Night Funkin', or this video where I go over more glitch Pibby tunes. This is Orseofkorse. Make sure to check out this mod for yourself down in the description, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Peace, peace.